Good afternoon. Welcome to episode 20 of 5 Reasons Not to Harm Your Family During Quarantine. That's Meghan, my daughter. She's amazing. She's found a lot of really creative ways to keep herself occupied during this. And we can go into that later, but just the quick and easy is we started watching the Avengers series from the very first movie, when we're watching one every other day of the 14 movies that make up the Avengers series. And it's been pretty cool. It's family time and something that they all love and I kind of missed out on in the first round. So I'm now catching up with them and it's fun. We've learned that we all like different kinds of popcorn. But to the issues at hand, I saw a great quote today, and it is, but for everything this crisis has taken from us, it has given us back a sense of gratitude, a reminder to be thankful for what matters. And I was thinking about that and how unknown the future is right now and what it's going to look like. And, I am a really big believer in you chase your happiness. And I was thinking about how when this is over, we could rebound to some place that we've never been before. And it could be even a better place. So, there's a lot of negativity around us, but I just wanted to share like that little positive thought as the ultimate glass is half full person out there. Some other stuff before we get into the hot topic of the day is that some of you may have heard that Beaumont Hospital has laid off 2,475 employees. And you're like, what the hell? How could that happen? We don't have enough beds. We need all these healthcare workers. How could that happen? Well, I think it's important to understand that all of those people were administrative. They were not frontline healthcare providers. The CEO of Beaumont has also taken a 70% pay cut, and the rest of the executive leadership has taken a pay cut of up to 45% of their total compensation. So even the booming business of healthcare is suffering right now, which I think kind of makes this concern a little more real. And certainly a little bit more to grapple with, because that is just really, I don't know, it was striking to me. Amazon, another place that how could they be struggling right now? They actually had an employee call out sick day, where their employees, as a sign of objection to their current working conditions and lack of safety precautions being taken in the workplace, they have now also, they're having some internal difficulties. So be thankful that 40,000, 50,000 employees under your roof at your house as you're trying to figure this all out. As far as the COVID-19 update, it's interesting because it's actually a round number. 32,000 cases in Michigan as of yesterday at 3:00. On April 17th, so just 3 days earlier, we had 30,023 cases. So that's basically almost 2,000 cases over the last 3 days have been identified. And we talked about this earlier on, that because of the increase in testing, we're going to see increase in cases. But we're also seeing, unfortunately, even with all of the talk about flattening the curve and staying home and it's working, we're still seeing, in my opinion, too many deaths. From Sunday to Monday, we saw an increase of 77 deaths in Michigan, and bringing the Michigan total to 2,469. I think it's really important for us to take a minute to just think about year-old Skyler, who died yesterday. She is the child of first responders. This is the nightmare as live as it can be. Her father's a 25-year-old year veteran of the Detroit Fire Department. Her mom is the same number of year veteran of the Detroit Police Department. And here, their little girl died of COVID-19. The reality of this is just unbearable sometimes. It's been 6 weeks since the first case in Michigan, and if we stay home, we will accomplish all the goals faster. I also wanted to point out that yesterday, if you missed Governor Whitmer's 3 o'clock press conference, she did take a 10% pay cut, and her staff has agreed to take a 5% pay cut to inject that money elsewhere within our state. The other thing that she talked about yesterday is that a task force has been created to deal with the racial disparity in COVID-19. What I mean by that is people of color have had 40% of the total death rate in Michigan. And since they only make up 16% of our population, that's obviously a population that needs to be studied and explored, and more resources need to be provided to them. And the only other thing that I wanted to chat about today, as far as little announcements, are for those of you that haven't gone to irs.gov and put in your direct deposit information, your stimulus check is going to take longer to get to you than people who did do that. And also, tomorrow is the last day. If you are a senior citizen who has Medicaid, you must register at irs.gov before the end of the day tomorrow to get the additional supplement. So that is potentially a lot of money for people, and we need to make sure that that's taken care of. And, we do all these things to protect our friends and our loved ones. That's why we're staying home. We don't want to lose them. So let's make sure they don't lose their chance at money. In 10 days, the executive order is going to expire, the stay home, stay put. And if you recall, the legislature met and gave Governor Whitmer the power to issue executive orders during this time of crisis. No one knows what's really going to happen. If the legislature doesn't extend her executive power, the stay home, stay put order would then be null and void. And would we voluntarily stay home to get rid of this? Or we risk a second wave, third wave, whatever it is? Those are just kind of some questions out there that people need to consider in our government, where we do have a balanced power and we do have checks and balances, how that's all gonna play out. And as I talked about yesterday, the House Republican Majority Leader, Lee Chatfield, he did propose a plan to the House, to the Republicans in the House yesterday, that talks about how we'll come back to normal. Based on that proposed plan, I think that the legislature, if there are like-minded people like Lee Chatfield, who see this as it's not a one and done, you don't just hit a day on the calendar and it's gone, then I think that they're going to extend, this is just my prediction, that executive order so that, or her executive powers, so that she can put more executive orders in place to safely get us back to normal. So the topic today is Hi, Meghan Satawa.
Oh, look, it's Auntie Leanne.
The topic today is about 17 being the magic number. And the reason that 17 is the magic number is because if you are 17 or older, you are going to be charged with a crime as an adult. If you are 17 or younger, if you are 16 or younger, you will be charged as a juvenile. What that means is that in juvenile court, the goal is rehabilitation. They look at the everyone in the house, and regardless of what the crime is, and they figure out what does this family and this child need so that this conduct never happens again. And there's a lot of tools for them to figure that out. In adult court, the goal is punishment. And so they're different. They come from different places. One is very individual, one is very societal. So those are the two biggest differences. So what crime you commit if you're charged as a juvenile, unless it's a serious crime, may not be as much of a factor as it is in an adult case. Sometimes it's better to be charged as an adult as far as outcomes. There are some special provisions, diversions that people can qualify for so that if they are charged as an adult and they do certain things, then they won't end up with a criminal record. Which you could commit the same offense in juvenile court and it's going to be on your record and it's going to possibly be there in your future because of your age. There's a lot of distinctions and different things that can happen. As far as being removed from home or losing your liberty, which are the expressions in the respective courts, if you're removed from your home as a juvenile, then you could go to a residential program. There's one at Children's Village. There's in Oakland County. There's juvenile detention in Wayne County. And then there's some different programs around the state, depending on security level. You know, there's one in Gaylord. There's one outside Ann Arbor. People have heard about Maxie usually. So those facilities, Maxie being the most secure for juveniles, and then there's like all the way down to day treatment, which is they pick you up at 6 a.m., they bring you back at 8 p.m., and you're in school and therapy and rehabilitation type services all day. And under watch, and then you have a curfew for when you get home. So there's all kinds of different things that can be that the juvenile could be responsible for. At the same time, when you're in juvenile court, the court has the ability to order other family members to participate in services as well, which in an adult court they would not have the ability to do that. So for example, if you have a very rebellious child, they're going to be ordered to go to therapy, may be ordered to go to therapy as well. And then they may have to go to parent therapy. They may have to go to some educational program of how to parent your teen or how to deal with special needs of your child. Or so parents and children work together. Siblings can be incorporated as well in some instances. Sometimes they bring services into the home. A program where there's a social worker that would come to your home all day, watch the way things happen in your house, and then recommend services for each member of your family to make your house the best it can be. A lot of people are resistant, but then once they experience I'll call it an intrusion, and they see it working, even if the driving force is just to get the person out of your house, it can be very successful. So there's all kinds of interventions in juvenile court before a child is removed from their parents because of delinquency. And delinquency meaning any crime And it also includes status offenses such as skipping school, curfew violations, and things like that. In adult court, the person who commits a crime is going to be punished at sentencing. And sentencings are based on as a set of guidelines if it's a felony, or on a social history and recommendations by a probation agent if it's a misdemeanor. Misdemeanors, as we know from past casts, it's punishable, anything punishable by less than a year. And so we have this in adult court, the range of punishments. The most serious, obviously, being going to prison. And we know, because we've talked about the difference between jail and prison on different casts, that if you go to prison, it's indeterminate and you have to be paroled and all of those things. But before you get to the prison step, there are a lot of programs available as alternatives to incarceration, but are still, I'll call it, invasion on your liberty, because you're being monitored as part of a program, or you have reporting requirements to check in, provide documentation, verification. So some of those programs may be boot camp, for example. It could be substance abuse treatment. It could be an economic loss education program that talks all about the impact of theft on the whole community. It could be a victim impact panel, which is something that drunk drivers often have to view, and it's a video of children and adults and families being killed by drunk drivers. So it's a pretty scary thing to watch, and certainly is a deterrent. One thing that they also do in juvenile court is they have, if you're over, I think you have to be over 15, might be 14, then they may send you on a tour of the Oakland County Jail. They also do that in Wayne County on some occasions. The other thing they do is they could make you sit in court and watch a criminal call in a judge. They're in a judge's courtroom, and watch the docket. And you see people being incarcerated. You see people pleading guilty. Courtrooms are public, and so anyone can do that at any time. So those are just some of the differences. I plan on talking about the difference between criminal and civil cases tomorrow, and then we will talk about the anatomy of an allegation and what happens after someone reports a crime or reports wrongdoing, and how that evolves through the system. So with that, happy to answer any questions. You can send them to me by email, by Facebook Messenger, put them on the site here. And again, the 5 reasons not to harm your loved ones. Protective services is essential. The police are essential. There's not any room really in our jails right now for new offenders. And parents can be responsible for kids being kids in certain circumstances. And no one really looks good in horizontal orange stripes. So with that, I hope you're all healthy and stay home and enjoy your loved ones. Be gracious, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.